Yeah, now about 10 hours removed from watching that Severance finale. I gave it a little sleep on, right? I slept on it a little bit, wanted to get my thoughts wrapped around it. Here I am to talk about it with all of you. First things first, I just want to say, if you're looking for a video that's going to explain and break down this episode in enormous detail in a way that makes things a little bit easier to digest and understand, not the place, guys. Nope, this is a vibes channel. I'm gonna talk about my vibes and my feelings. Not gonna try explaining or breaking down any of this shit, because I am just as lost as probably a lot of you. Also, there will be minor spoilers for the first season and most of Season 2. I'll try to keep spoilers for this episode at a minimum, but if you haven't watched it, maybe click off, I guess. I'll also be giving my broad review and score of Season 2 out of 5, so stay tuned to the end of the video to hear that. So yeah, Severance Season 2. I will say, this has been one of the most fun seasons of television to follow along with week for week. It's been kind of a minute since we've really had something like this, and it really is special when you have a TV show that's so engaging and so exciting, both from a larger audience, right, where every week when an episode comes out, you have thousands of YouTube videos flooding the internet, talking about the episode, breaking down the episode, podcasts, all this stuff. That is a part of the excitement. But when a show actually matches that excitement in its quality, it really is something special. I hadn't really seen anything like this since Succession went off the air 2 years ago. Obviously, we've had bigger shows, but it's been really quite a while since there was this much hype around a singular season of television. And I've had my opinion about a lot of this season. You know, there's been a lot of episodes that I thought were tremendous, and there's been this large, overarching mystery that has really driven this show from the start of the season, and really going into Season 1 that I've absolutely loved, but I've continuously said on this channel that I was a little bit worried and a little bit wary because this season set a lot of expectations and a lot of hype on this finale and on answering a lot of the questions that it asks and on landing the plane of this overarching story that it's been sort of setting here. And I didn't know if it was going to be possible to do that. I figured the show was either heading towards an incredible finale or an incredibly disappointing finale. My God, if it's not the former. So, of course, the whole sort of arc of this season has been the story of Mark and Gemma. Gemma being Mark's wife, and we learned a lot about their relationship in this season, got an even brilliant episode about their relationship, and we know that Gemma is being held captive by Lumen, and throughout that episode, we saw that they're doing some experimental weird shit to her that I don't totally understand. So Outie Mark has been trying to work with different people to get Gemma out, and this is the episode where they try to execute on that plan. They're trying to work with Any Mark to get Gemma out. Outie Mark, Any Mark working together with a bunch of other people to get Gemma free. And we also have the resolution to what is Cold Harbor? What is all this weird stuff that Mark's been doing with the numbers for all of these years? The refinement. What other, revelations do we get about Lumen? Are they really a cult? What the hell is going on? I don't know. What I do know is that this episode was extraordinarily fast-paced. From the opening scenes, we got incredible sequences of Mark communicating with his Any. Then the whole sequence of getting back to Lumen and doing what they end up doing there. There's some action. There's some brutality in this episode. There are some beautiful reunions and moments of love. There are incredibly tense chase sequences. This show has all the weird that Succession is known for. Remember that dance sequence from Season 1? I think they might have actually topped that here. And I just want to give a shout out yet again to Tremel Tillman, who plays Milchek. He is my favorite actor in this show and my favorite character and performance. So good in this episode. But everything going on in this episode is just exciting. There's never a moment in this episode where you want to look away from the screen. There's no slow moment. There's no break from the action. It's just constant resolution, constantly getting stuff you had been waiting all season to get. The highs of this episode, the moments that you expected to see, really land. They meet your expectations. They don't answer every question, right? They leave some questions open for the Season 3, and I'm sure what will be Season 4 at some point, but they answer some questions enough so that you feel satisfied. You don't feel like you're hanging on a cliff and you're like, how am I going to wait for 3 years? We just watched 10 episodes and got nothing? No, that's not what you feel. You get enough to feel satisfied, to feel full. And the show does end on a massive cliffhanger, much like Season 1, but that massive cliffhanger is not a continuation of a larger mystery, but the opening up of sort of a new story, a new angle to tell the story of Severance from. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it's something that was unexpected in the twist. It's not like another twist. It comes at the conclusion of one story. We really get that sort of satisfying conclusion to the one story arc this whole season's been sort of telling. And now with that, story arc closed. It's the opening up of this new conflict, which I really appreciate, while the overarching Lumen arc and what's going on with Kira and all this other stuff, that's still there, and there's still a lot of mystery there, but there's just such a fascinating character development here that I cannot wait to see sort of tackled in Season 3. There is a new promise. At the end of Season 1, there was that promise, right? Innie Mark screaming to his sister and to everybody right before he's turned off, right? That Gemma is alive, giving that piece of information that opened up the promise of Season 2, a Season 2 where they will be trying to get Gemma out. At the end of this season, there is a similar promise. It promises this new story that I find to be so interesting, and I cannot wait to see how they tackle it. This finale was perfect. I wish there was more Irving. There's actually no Irving in this finale, which is weird, but that's okay. It's just kind of a perfect episode of television, and I know a lot of people are using that word, and I put it in my title. One of the best episodes of television ever. Is it one of the best? Is it actually maybe the best? I don't know. Time will tell. You have to let this sit for a few months, right? In the moment, in the day after, you're like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. But who knows a year from now how we're going to feel about it. But I definitely think this is up there in one of the greatest finales of all time, one of the greatest episodes of TV of all time when you really look at it, right? I often think about Breaking Bad, that Season 4 finale, the war between Gus and Walter White coming to its conclusion, and of course, that bone-chilling ending that yet again ended one story, but it promises this new arc in Season 5. This conflict that will happen between Walt and Jesse is teased at the end of Season 4. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, watch Breaking Bad! Of course, you had the finale of Season 5 of Breaking Bad and a bunch of episodes there that can be considered some of the greatest of all time. If you go to Succession, which I believe is a top 3 show of all time, there's so many perfect episodes in the Season 3 finale. Yet again, it closes off one story arc, a story arc the season had been setting, while opening up what Season 4 is going to be, right? So it gives you that satisfactory conclusion while also opening the door to the new avenues of storytelling that they're going to go down in Season 4. That's how you do a finale, and that's how you do great television. You deliver on your promises while promising new things, right? While leaving the door open for more, but delivering a satisfactory episode of television that can make people feel satisfied, shocked, and wanting more. And that makes this, to me, one of the most perfect episodes and one of the most perfect finales ever crafted in television. This is how you do a finale. This could have been so bad, and I was worried this was going to end up being The Walking Dead Season 6 finale, which if you haven't watched The Walking Dead, maybe go check that out. But that whole season was building up to a finale where we knew it was going to be adapting a very pivotal moment in the comic books, and the whole show had built up to that moment only for that moment to cut the black right before we actually saw it, leaving us on a one-year-long cliffhanger that nobody wanted to wait for. It was brutal and not satisfying at all. And honestly responsible for killing a lot of the hype around that show. Like, a lot of people jumped off The Walking Dead because of that finale's failure, and I was so worried that this could end up being the same thing. I was telling everybody that I know that watches this show and warning them, like, I don't know if this is going to be able to deliver, and if it doesn't, that could really be it for the hype train on Severance. If this ends up being a really crappy finale with a crappy cliffhanger. Fortunately, though, it was amazing. It was perfect, and I think the hype train going into Severance Season 3 is going to be one of the hottest, craziest things we've ever seen in television. This has now established itself, I think, as being the best show on TV, now that, of course, Succession is gone. Severance is the gold standard of TV, and I cannot wait for Season 3, which hopefully we won't have to wait 3 years for. They're kind of hinting that it will be out at some point, maybe late next year. That would be awesome. I will give Severance Season 2 as a whole, though, a 5 out of 5, of course. I mean, come on, it's an amazing season of television. What do you guys think of the finale? Let me know down below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.